you guys, how are you today? I'm doing pretty good, except I woke up yesterday morning with this lovely little friend on my nose. Don't we all have those? God, we hate them, right? And a lot of times a regular foundation, unless it's a really good CC, will not cover that up. So sometimes you need a little help. And so today I'm going to demonstrate how to camouflage a red spot using a color correcting primer. Green cancels out red, and so if you need to get rid of redness, splotches, stuff like this, you want a product that is green like this. You can apply it with a finger, but today I'm going to try it with my little blotter here. And I'm just going to blot it gently on to the red spot. Do you see how it faded that? I'm going to do just a little more. You see how it decreased the redness? I'll show you on a couple of other spots that I get here. I have the type of skin that if I have a pimple or I get a scratch or anything like that, I tend to stay pink for a while. It takes a while for that to fade on my skin. So again, just going to use a little bit of this guy. Now you don't want to use too much. Do you see that? You don't want to use too much, because then what can happen is you end up you can actually see the grain. I mean, you can put your makeup over it, but you don't want a green tinge. You want to go really sparing with this guy. This spot on my nose is really, really bad right now. And so I'm probably going to go back over that. But here's another red spot. I didn't have any product on my sponge. Okay. You just want to use the tiniest amount of product possible. You see that? I have a red spot here. Let's work on that guy. Let's see what we can do there. I don't have enough product on my sponge. Still see it barely. But you see, after this dries, when you get your foundation on, this little guy, you won't be able to see him very much. Now this is right here on my skin. These are broken capillaries. So they tend to be, they tend to really stand out when I get them, when they get inflamed. I'm going to go just a little bit more on my nose. I don't want to get too much, but I just want to go a little more to see if I can even tone that redness down a little more. I don't want to be overzealous, because then I'm going to end up with the green nose. We don't want that, right? But, of course, we're going to put foundation over that. So that did not completely go away, but you can see how much it helped. Got a couple little spots here. You can see just how much it reduces that redness, okay? Here's one here. It's just pink, a little pink spot. Now the important thing is letting this stuff dry too. Because if you start trying to put makeup on over it before it's dry, you're going to make a little mess. Do I have anything else? Just a little here. Now, I've kind of taken care of that redness, with the exception of my nose just being a little bit, still a little bit. I just want to be really careful, but it did cut out that bright red. Now what I'm going to use a correcting concealer around my eyes, because this is an area where I always have problems. I get a little darkness there, little darkness here, okay? As you get older, your skin ages, gets thinner. Again, when you're doing this, like less is more to start with. I'm going to be using the Mary Kay Under Eye Concealer. Okay. Just a tiny dot, okay? Tiny dot, tiny dot, tiny dot. Let's start with that. I mean, literally, that could take care of the problem right there. So let's see. I'm going to use the rounded side. Now you can use your finger for this too. So let me use a sponge here and see what happens. It's already cutting out some of that kind of purple a little bit. See, just a little bit. On this side. Just a little. We're going to do just a tad more. Dot. I mean, I'm going so sparingly because when I first tried this product, I was so extra with it. And as a result of that, I didn't like it because I was like, oh, this is way too heavy and thick. Well, I was just applying too much. Okay, sponge. See, it took away the purplish look. There's still a little purple in the corner there. Okay. Do you see the difference that made? Now, I have dark circles under my eyes because of my age. I have hollows and the skin is thinner, but you can see what an improvement that made. I'm like so incredibly tempted to do something about this, to put more green on there, but I'm not going to because my CC cream should cover the rest of that color. It should just go over just fine. I was going to go ahead and apply my CC cream over the color correcting concealer because I want to show you how to do it without wiping it away. And again, the key is just little bits at a time. A lot of times if you apply too much product, you're going to end up with a problem. Now, I have enormous pores and scars on my nose. You can't really see them on the camera, but so whenever I apply product to my nose, it's always a big challenge for me. So I'm going to start with a sponge, and I might need to use a brush to work into the little pores, but I've even got a little too much product on there. So I'm going to put this on the back of my hand, and I'm just going to start really light, sparingly, working on that spot there where I have the green correcting concealer. Just going really light. I'm dabbing, dabbing, dabbing. Now, if you don't have large pores, this little dabbing motion will probably be just fine for you. But if you have really large pores, sometimes you have to kind of get in there with a brush and kind of stipple the area. There's no other way for me to explain it, because if I don't, look at that. Can you see that? It looks like I have holes. That's how big these pores are. So I'm just gonna just kind of stipple this all over my nose. And then I'm going to go back and I'm going to work in those areas where I had. Now what I'm using is I'm using Mary Kay CC cream. And I'm in very light. That is my complexion. That is my complexion. Very light. I'm going over this again. I'm going to dab with a finger. Ooh, finger was not a good idea. This is where you have to be very cautious because you can end up pulling the product right off. So you got to be careful with it. And you went and you put all that concealer there, you went to all that trouble to put the color correcting concealer there, and then you don't want to just pull it right off. What a waste of time it would have been otherwise. I'm not seeing red. I am seeing my pores, but that's because I have to go in with a brush and tend to those pores. I have to work in that product into those pores right there so that they don't show up like that. See, much better, right? Much better. I have this brush from It Cosmetics. It is a concealer and then an all over like a foundation brush. I really love this. I just ordered some brushes from Mary Kay, and I'm waiting on those to arrive so that I can test those out, give you a review on those. So I'm just working those areas that need that kind of that fill in because of my pores. Looks better, doesn't it? Okay. I'm using the CC cream on this concealer brush. So I'm not actually using a concealer yet, but I am going to use a concealer around my eyes a little bit. I had the under eye corrector. Now I want to brighten around the eye area. I'm actually going to go ahead and put my CC cream here over this spot. You can still see that spot. That kind of took care of it. Okay. Mary Kay concealer in Ivory 1. You can't read that. I can't read it either. Again, we're going to do what we did with that other under eye concealer, and we're just going to use little dots. Oops. Little dots. Now I'm going to use this concealer brush to pat it in. You don't want to rub it, because if you rub it, you're going to rub away what you just put down, the corrector. You don't want to rub it. You want to pat it with this brush. You can smooth it out. I mean, we're talking feather strokes. You always want to use super light strokes around your eyes. You never want to be tough around the eye area, because that skin is so delicate. Okay. Okay. Can you see how much better that is? Okay, now I'm going to apply my CC cream all over the rest of my face. And I'm going to take care to not go over those areas that I just did, because otherwise I'm going to mess them up. Again, this is my Mary Kay CC cream in the shade Very Light. Now, I actually forgot that I had put some of the color correcting primer on these little other spots on my face. So, having forgotten that, I think I might have just brushed some away. But that's okay, because this CC cream really does, like, take care of a lot. Now, what I'm doing with this brush, the stippling motion, I will stipple with the brush because I have large pores. And this kind of pushes the product down into the pores, and then I just brush over it to smooth it. Now, it's actually getting into the pores, but it's non-comedogenic, so it's not going to clog the pores. When I wash my face tonight, it's going to come right out. So it's not going to cause me any problems. It doesn't have any pore clogging oils or anything like that. Okay. I have a tendency to want to put way too much product on my face. So if that's you, if you have if you look at your makeup or your skincare, not skincare, your makeup, your foundation, and you're noticing it's starting to get like a little cakey or whatever throughout the day, you might have put too much product on, or you're not using, if it's caking, you're not using a really good product. But sometimes you can't blame the product. Sometimes you just overuse it. And I know that to be the case because I've done that. Now my pores are not as large in this area, so I'm just brushing down, brushing down. Okay. Now, you know, I've got a pretty good natural, I have a pretty good bit of natural coverage now. I just need to do my forehead. Can you see that difference? I mean, I'm really close to the camera, and what you're seeing is light. I've got a hollow under my eye, but this is how people see you. Okay, and before I put that correcting concealer on, the eye under eye, or the correcting primer, and then the eye corrector and concealer, you could see those things without my being very close, because you were actually seeing the color. But in this case, when I do that, you're seeing the contour of my face. So still working here. I'll get a little bit too much, but that's okay. I'll work it in. Stipple, stipple, stipple. I'm just gonna put it, I got too much product, so I'll just, I don't have so much on that I can't put a little more on, but I'll definitely need to blend this. I'm being careful not to go over my eyebrows. I don't want my eyebrows to disappear. Didn't really get much product there at the hairline. So now I did not put foundation on my eyelids because I use an eyeshadow primer for my eyeshadow. Okay. So there we go. And now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to set my foundation with, I'm trying to decide, do I want to do setting spray or translucent powder? What I'm going to do is I'm going to use the translucent powder because see, I have the contours in my face, and so under my eye, when I turn, I still have a circle, right? Because that's a shadow. See, it's not there now. It's not as bad on this side. So, and the same thing with my pores, although they may not be really apparent unless I get really close to the camera. My pores are rather large, so you can see them. They're large here and on my nose. So if I use a setting powder, it just mats that down a little bit so that you don't end up with, well, it mats it down so that you can't really see that as well. So I'll show you what I mean. I am using my Mary Kay translucent powder. Okay. And I'm going to apply this with a fluffy brush. I'm going to use one of my brushes by It Cosmetics that I love. So fluffy and nice. I just cleaned these last night. I love a clean brush. Just going to gently pat that on to my nose. I get a little bit in the lid. Just a little bit in the lid. I swirl my brush and I tap it. Okay, see this eye, how it is? Watch this. Ooh, not as bad, right? So that's why I will use a translucent powder at the very least on my eyes. Okay, now I'm going to just use it on my cheeks to minimize these pores. Just going to do it all over. All over. And there we have Fresh Face ready for your color cosmetics. And it was that easy to get rid of that redness with a color correcting concealer. The one that I used today, and since I purchased this, the packaging has changed, so it's not going to look like this now, but this is by Pure Cosmetics. Okay. Now, Mary Kay has a limited edition color correcting stick that's coming in, and I did order that, and as soon as I get that, I am going to test that out, and I'll test it out against this, so you can see how that works. So anyway, thanks for watching. I'm going to drop the link in the description to my website. I am a Mary Kay beauty consultant. And I also am a Synergens distributor. So if you have a little time and you just want to cruise through there and check things out, that'd be great. I appreciate you supporting my business. And I hope you guys thoroughly enjoy the rest of your Saturday. Take care. Bye now.